Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 25 of Direwolf20's OceanBlock2 Let's Play series, where today I am expanding my platforms. I decided to copy and paste some of my existing platforms that I had, and hopefully this should be a really nice and easy way to make stuff happen. So that's kind of what I'm getting ready to do. So I wanna have like a nice like really repeatable and stampable kind of copy and paste of all the different platforms we might need as we expand our base here. It's time to like get serious about base management, power generation, applied energistics wiring, that kind of stuff. I think is like where we're at right now in this stage of the pack. So I want to take a pause from progressing for a little bit through like the main quest line and focus on the fundamentals so that we have like really good infrastructure in place for like auto crafting and that kind of stuff. So we'll keep everything we have kind of in place, but we might wind up like moving some things, right? Moving stuff around. And we'll have some islands like we have here where it'll be easy to kind of adjust stuff. Does that sound cool? I hope so, because like that's basically what I'm doing. So today's episode, I want to get into power generation if I can. Because boy, do we not have any. Oh boy, do we not have any. We have like no power gen, and it's actually kind of embarrassing how little power gen we have. So my thoughts are this. We have a couple options from what I was reading through. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the options we have, and then tell you which one I decide I'm going to go with. So if we look at power gen, we have a few things we can do. We can either do just Dire Things fuel generator, right? And feed, do the whole thing. But we've done that a couple times very recently. I feel like we should change it up, maybe? Does that sound not impossible? So I'm thinking like maybe we can check into some of the Oritech stuff, because like that's pretty new to me. Like, yes, we played with the fuel generator once in a previous series, but like I've never played with the nuclear reactor. I didn't even know there was one. And like I think I built a solar panel and then that was it, right? So we're gonna see what's up. So let's check it out. So in order to make some of these things though, they're locked behind their dependencies. So we need to get a flux gate if we want to get into solar panels, apparently. So that's going to require a little bit of progress through the main chapter. So 5 seconds ago, I said I wasn't going to progress through the main chapter. Maybe do a little main chapter progression. However, to get a fuel generator, we are going to need the acquiring coal. Does this guy also need laser focus under pressure? Oh, no, it needs this one. Oh, does it also? Yeah, it just needs this one. So we need a laser focus, an enderic lens, and we need an assembler in order to really get this going. So like I had knocked into like all the different things I could make here. I decided like which one I was going to go. So I'll probably remove some of the things. Now, if we're looking at power gen, we're going to want crude oil. To get crude oil, we can either use the mixer from Nautech, which I don't love the idea of having to automate. Like, it wasn't that bad, but also, do I really? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe, but probably not. Because I don't think I can easily move that giant crystal. So I'd have to do it in that underground, area where I get like compression damage, and that doesn't sound fun. Or I could do it in the thermoneumatic press, which should be reachable and attainable for me to make right now. And if I do it this way, though, I need a healthy amount of skulk, right? So this requires skulk. And where do I get nitrate dust from? That's from sieving dust. So we should actually have a bunch of nitrate dust. Is that true? Do we have nitrates? Oh yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. So yeah, making crude oil, I can just do nitrate dust and redstone and ethanol, which I can get from potatoes or whatever, right? That's going to require the yeast automation, but that should be relatively easy, courtesy of just Dire Things, hopefully. Yeah, that should be cool. Or I can do it with refined canola oil and empowered canola seeds, but that requires doing the whole empowering thing, and I'm not sure I want to go that route. So I think I'm going to go this route is the way I'm going to do it for crude oil. I'm going to go like nitrate, redstone, and ethanol, and that'll be our crude oil craft. Okay, so I'm going to skip the refined canola stuff because I don't feel like setting up the empower. Mostly because I never really liked the empower or the atomic reconstructor automation loops. Like they're not fun to automate. Not as much fun as maybe yeast would be. So That's the plan. So let's get into Oritech a little bit more. You know what I should do also is I should do a fluid collector. From Just Dire Things. Simple fluid collector. So you're gonna need a bow to make you, right? And that should be doable, right? So I should be able to replace this. And if I break you and did this, you should be cool. And then you should be able to configure as a pull from this side. So will you pull? You should pull. You should be able to pull. Pull water, please. Unless you are pulling water. Why you no pull? You should pull. Why you no want to pull? How about pipes then? We can pipe it. Fluid pipes should also work. There you go. So that's a very simple way to automate this. I've just been lazy about doing it. But it doesn't even require power. Right? Is that cool? I feel like that's cool. And then that keeps this whole thing running. And that should be good. So we're going to do that. Now let's get the assembler going. And I should probably start thinking about auto-crafting things, but, like, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. So we need a crafter, which needs a dropper. Yeah. I can already tell, like, just it's a little bit more smooth, the whole crafting mechanic here, so that is much appreciated. So yay, assembler. And then cores, we will take the improved machine cores. And then we're going to want Oritech energy pipes. And my energy stuff over here, admittedly, gigantic mess. Fully not even pretending it's not. Like, I know it's a giant mess. Well aware. And it's not going to get any better today. I'll put it that way. Today is going to be just as bad. Oh, that's right. You can just click on the thing and then whoop. So you don't even have to place the block. You can just click. That's super cool. I forgot about that. Okay. So continuing to be a giant mess, but the assembler is now built. And that is quest complete on ye old assembler, which is there. Hooray! And I get a reward of, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. Necklace. Cool. All right. So we're going to need more improved machine cores in a minute, but that's okay. So now that I've got the assembler, right, in under pressure, we should be able to get the spinning skulk, right, and then we can get the laser focus. And these are the things that we need to progress further. So we have adamant ingots, right? Yeah, we're good on those. We are going to need echo shards, right? And then we're going to need enderic compounds, which we can centrifuge from skulk. Okay. And in terms of the things, echo shards, we can get them doing enchanting with Ars Nouveau. That looks to be the way to do it, right? I'm going to say for now, yes. So skulk, couple quartz dust, and a dimensional shard should get me an echo shard. And where do I get dimensional shards from? Is this the only recipe for dimensional shards? I don't hate it, but I guess we're going to want more prismarine shards than our atomic reconstructor can handle, probably. I don't hate... That said, the enchanting apparatus doesn't consume the outer ones. So actually, I think we're cool, right? So you are going to be 2 quartz dust and a skulk. Right? So these guys go here. And then to make the echo shard, what goes in the middle is an amethyst shard, right? So if I got pedestals from you, which needs source stone, which should be easy enough. Hey. I'm gonna need you. Do you have like the... Oh, you don't have the nifty thing. Bummer. We can do this. Just a little tick accelerating. Just a smidge. Right? Look at those cool little enchanting glyphs. Is that from the tick accel or is that... They're cool looking, right? I guess that was from the tick accelerator. Nice little glyphs there, temporal pouch. Those were neat looking. So 1, 2... 3, 4. Right? And then if we got another Ars doohickey, whatchamacallit, what's it called again? Enchanting apparatus? Oh, it's the enchanting apparatus. So that's not... Oh, so that does consume. Yeah, that's the enchanting apparatus. That needs that and like the core. Yeah, that's the enchanting apparatus. That is not the other one. That's Dire Derpin, as he is wont to do. Right? So that's the bit where we do this and this. Right? Did you get a new thingy? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then like I don't think it has to be that far. Right? And then eventually 4 more, but that's enough. And then and so it does consume, right? That is a bummer. So it will consume you, and you, and then you do this, and it's going to yell about not enough source, or it isn't going to yell about not enough source. It does not seem to consume source. So that's cool, at least. So the Echo Shard does not require source for that craft. So we actually don't need to make source for this. Sweet. Okay. So that gets me Echo Shards that I can then use to make Enderic lenses, right? And then Enderic compounds is just centrifuging Skulk. Now, can I centrifuge in this guy with his upgrade, even if... Or do I need to, like, remove the upgrade and have 2 centrifuges? Looks like it's working. Yeah, there's no fluid, so it should be cool. Right? And I know I'm going to need at least 2 to get an Enderic lens. Boy, you're slow, Mr. Centrifuge. This is why we need to start focusing on the basics, right? Like, we need to be able to auto-craft and do things a little better. So yay for my first Enderic compound. I know I could make an add-on. Machine speed add-on? Sure. Right? So that speeds things up a smidge. It's not a huge boost. You're probably tick acceleratable, but you're almost done, so meh. Right? I'm going to tick accelerate for the last, 5 seconds? I don't think so. Alright, so then you dudes do that. Go, assembler, go! See, I have a gut instinct to fall back on my old ways and be like, why don't I just do just dire things? But I want to give you guys something new to watch, right? So we'll dig into Oritech a little bit deeper than we have in the past. Ooh, a reward. What did I get? Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Eclipse alloy template. Oh, that's actually very nice. I don't complain about that at all. Can you sit here? You can. Nice. Okay. So, hey, that's super cool. And then down here, I got something for making a fluid collector. And then, oops, I didn't want to compress those. Oritech, I get things for making the compounds. I think that was a quest reward I just got. And the assembler, and this thing. And that's cool. Now I can make the fuel generator, if I were so bold, right? So that's cool. So I'm thinking my fuel generator, like those islands are going to be where I start doing some automations. So I'll probably have an island dedicated to making fuel, and then an island dedicated to consuming the fuel as part of a power gen system, right? But at least for now, we have like this thing being very steady, which is cool. I wonder if I could make like a second magmatic boiler easily enough. Probably. Maybe. Meh. Either way. Because I think I could have more efficiency if I had a second magmatic boiler. Because I think the steam, the more we get into that generator, the more RF it produces, but we'll see. All right, pump can go away. Fuel generator? Yes. I mean, we clearly have the steel ingots that we need, so we need basic generators to make the fuel generator. But basic generators don't have a recipe? Huh. Huh. So how does one make a fuel generator? Three by two multi-block generator that consumes crude oil, turbo fuel, non-tech mixer. Yes, I know that. Da, da, da. So we haven't done the crude oil yet, but like I can get that. Let me get the oil just so the quest opens up, but I feel like there's a bug here. So thermopneumatic processing plant needs a temperature greater than 150. So that shouldn't be too bad. Do we have a thermopneumatic-y dude over here? We do, and his temperature is sitting at 9. So he's a little chilly at the moment. A little chilly. And then we're going to need ethanol. So let's start working on this. And I'm going to... Give me a minute. I'm going to go check with the folks and see if I'm missing something about this generator being craftable. Alright, so let's start by making ourselves a bucket of yeast. And I have to remember the whole yeast thing, because I remember it being a little bit tricky. So I'm thinking like magma blocks should be cool. I'm guessing you're like a heat dude, right? Get back here, you two. Alright, so if I put water in you, and I put a mushroom in you, right? And then I do that. Do you lose progress? Not really. Where's the temperature stuff? Where's the other temperature stuff? Block heat properties. Is there anything that's like nice in that zone? Lots of 27 Cs. Liquid sulfur trioxide. Liquid sodium. That's a little too hot, actually. Yeah, so it's really just liquid sulfur trioxide, which is probably not easy for me right now. So you know what I'll do? I'll just do this off camera-ish. And it'll get there eventually. Is that cool? Yeah, back in a bit. All right, so I've got my yeast. So what we're gonna want is water, right? A bucket of water, and we're gonna want sugar. Yes, sugar. Right? And then yeast can be made by just placing water next to it and then dropping sugar in the yeast. I forget if there's like an order of operations that needs to happen, like, you know, water for I forget. I remember running into issues at one point in the future. Let's put it that way. And I forget exactly what all was involved there. Oh boy. My mob farm is jammed up again. I know because I went near my mob farm and my inventory filled up with mob drops. So I've been peeking in here every now and then. And doing, you know, stuff like that. And then figuring out like what's gumming up the works and then adding it to a new trash can. So hopefully not much. Doesn't look like much. Yay. We're getting there. We're getting to the point where we've got everything filtered. It's taking a hot minute, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We will get there. All right, so you go there, and then you go there, and then you drop the sugar in the yeast. Or does the sugar have to be there first? Oh, hello. That worked. I think the sugar has to be there first. Okay. So, double checking. Right? So that doesn't work. But we do this, and it will work. Cool? Okay. So yes, the sugar has to be there first. That's the big secret to this setup. So let's get probably gonna want some just dire things to do, you know, the placement and collections. So for just dire things, we're gonna want a sensor to detect the yeast existing, right? We're going to want fluid from just dire things. Placer can be a simple one. We don't need anything fancy with that. You can just like super simple. But the collector, we probably want to be advanced so we can filter it. So for that, we're going to need another one of you, and then some iron. And get me an ender pearl, please. We have a ton of them down in the mob farm, by the way, so I'm not sweating. There we go. Cool. All right, so just dire things fluid. Collector, we're going to want the advanced version of, right? So this guy's going to get upgraded with Eyes of Ender. Cool. Because we want to filter what's allowed to be picked up, right? Now we could probably manage to avoid having to use the advanced one. You know what I could do? I could do something clever to avoid needing the advanced one and keep it power free. Should I do that? Let's try, because I think that would be cool. And then if I need the advanced one that requires forge energy, we can do it. But if I want to do this, I'm going to need some laser IO help. Do you know what I'm going to do? Think about it. How can I use laser IO to do what I want to do here? Give you a hint. It involves a counting filter. Anybody come up with what Dyer's planning yet? I guess we'll find out. Tell me in the comments if you figured out what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's have you be the collector, right? Simple fluid collector. Can be like that. And then I'm going to have you and you collect. Okay? So now you're kind of filtered, right? You can only do thing. We're going to want a sensor facing this way, and you're going to sense items. And weak signal, 20 ticks, and then you could be a simple fluid placer, which will have water in you. And you're configured to run on high signal, and you're configured to check every 5 ticks, and you're cool, right? So if I put sugar here, actually I want you running on pulse, right? That should work. Now, if I put a whole stack there, what happens? Yeah, see, that's not good. Right? Yeah, that's the problem I always have with the whole thing, right? Is it potentially flowing? So as long as we only drop one at a time in there, and if I wanted to be really cool about it, I could shrink it down to like 3 ticks, and then it should be like really fast. And that should be cool. Now, if I take this yeast and I pump it into some kind of tank, like functional storage tank, okay, fluid drawer 1 by 1, that should be cool. And we use laser IO to do the transferring. What we can do is say something like, hey, on this side, you can extract a filtered amount of yeast, but keep a bucket in there, right? And then on the up, you can insert. And what it'll do is it'll always leave 1 bucket behind. And then you don't need a filter, right? So you can use a simple fluid collector that doesn't need power, nor does it need a filter, and then we're cool, right? So then it's a simple matter of like drop the sugar in, and then boom, and then it collects, right? But it always leaves a bucket behind, which means it'll never pick up the water because it won't be able to fit the water because it can only fit 1 type of fluid. Huh? That's Dyer's I'm proud of the cool thing I made sound. Yeah, the only problem is you keep doing that like flow thing. I wonder if I put like a slab or something there, if that would work. If I put a slab there, would it be all kinds of cool? About not flowing, but also being a fluid? I guess we're gonna have to see if waterlogging works, right? So if I scoop you and then do you, and then I put this sugar here. Can you place in a waterlogging situation? I guess you can't. Is that true? Am I right about that? Do I not have any more buckets? Can you not place in a waterlogging situation? You may not be able to. That's a bummer. I wonder if I should make sure that you can. I probably should make sure that you can. What else can I do to prevent you from flowing? I could make you faster, right? So the instant the sugar hits it, the sugar should hopefully not have the time to start flowing. If we turn that sensor speed up to every tick, I think that's the solution. At least for now, and then if it comes up, we'll see. I feel like I run into this problem every time I set this up, and I like always solve it differently. Is that accurate? Is that what happens? I always have a different solution for how I solve that weirdness. I don't remember. So that's that going. And then we can make ethanol by feeding yeast culture into a thermopneumatic press, as long as it's between 30 and 60, huh? So I have to definitely find a between 30 and 60 doohickey to make ethanol. That's annoying. How am I going to do between 30 and 60? Or I could do an industrial fermenter, which will need power. And that just makes the ethanol directly. Then I wouldn't have needed the yeast for all this. Well, let's make sure we're growing potatoes. We are growing potatoes, right? I think we are. There we go. Definitely growing potatoes among lots of other junk. Just putting away some other things for a sec. So I do want my charger for now. So you've got all the yeast, right? So what we're going to want is a thermopneumatic processing plant. And then my magma, just out of curiosity, how impossible would it be for me right now to make liquid sulfur trioxide? Needs sulfur trioxide, which is that. Needs oxygen and sulfur dioxide, which I can get from sulfur in a chemical oxidizer. So like a couple machines from Mechanism, and I should be able to pull that off. My only question, therefore, would be like, does this actually get consumed? Because if we look at it, it says that it turns into ice, and its heat capacity is 10,000. So I don't know if 10,000 is a lot, right? Like magma has 10,000. So how long before magma turns into netherrack? Probably longer than I want. So let me think about this for a sec. Or I could do the vortex dude. And if we use the correct vortex amount, right, we should be cool. I just need some compressed iron, which, as I recall, is cast iron. Is there a cool way to make this yet? Superheated 16 iron and a coal. Right? I'd call that a cool way to make it. That's definitely faster. And then I can compress you. Airdrop landed. I should go check it out. Alright, where's the airdrop? I'm guessing it's this guy. Anything cool? I'll take you. Meh. I don't think I need any of that stuff. I don't think I need you or you. I'll take that, because I don't know how rare that is. I'll definitely take these guys, because they're hard to get. And turtle seeds. A lot of them, too. I think I have the rest of that junk, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. So if I made the vortex tube, right? Because you're hot, then you're cold. Yeah, not wrong. And then I guess I could make another flux compressor. Or yeah, because what we're going to want... How easy was it to make a flux compressor? terrible. Invar requires the smelting and the turbine rotor. That was not bad. And then a blast furnace should be easy too. So I just really need Invar. I have none? Nickel and steel, right? Or nickel and iron, I mean. Want to say it's 2 to 1. I want to say it's 2 to 1. There you go. You're good. And you're good. And you're good. Sweet. All right. And then let me borrow... Gonna need a little bit of power to borrow. You know what I'm gonna borrow it from? Right here. I don't know exactly how much I'm gonna need, but we're gonna find out together. So what we're gonna want is our... You know what else I need? Let me make this thing real quick. I'll be right back. All right, let's see what we can come up with here. So we're gonna want a thermopneumatic processor, right? And then you're gonna need a vortex tube. I might want to put this. I think we're gonna need a little bit more space here, so I might want to. Maybe I'll put this elsewhere, like in a little bit, like because we're gonna want a couple of these, I think. And then we're gonna want a vortex tube that'll face here. Can you rotate? Yes. Nice. Okay. And then how about you face downwards? This thing I always stink at doing, but basically we want it to face, I think, like that. Is that cool? Right? And then you're going to warm up just a bit, and then your tube, buddy, is going to emit. Remember these cool gadgets? Love these little gadgets. Can you not place on there? It's going to be annoying to me. You can probably sit here then. And then on the red, R equals 1. And that should be emitting a redstone signal of 1. See it up there? Threshold 4.6 bar. So what if I make it 14? Threshold 0.3 bar. That's what I want. Okay. Cool. And then you're gonna do this with my flux compressor. Man, this is gonna be super dire wiry, and everybody's gonna love it. Everybody's gonna be like, this is the best dire wire you've ever made, Dire. Cool. And then you should be able to solar panel, provided I can make it daytime. Cool. Right, so now you should be getting power, presumably, a little bit. Are you not getting enough? How much do you need? Maximum energy use is 40, maximum input rate is, and you're producing what? 60. You make 64, right? So is 40 not enough? Mr. Flux Compressor? So you've got a little pressure going on, which is cool. And I want to install a safety module in you so you like don't go crazy. But then at some point you should be heating up a little bit, right? And I think you are. I think that's working. Yeah, he's already at 14C, so that's cool. I wonder if I can give you like a little boost just to help. That could be cool. Are there any other upgrades I can put in here? Just speed, which is meh, I think. Right? So then hopefully you'll stabilize in that awesome zone of making ethanol. That's my goal, right? And we throw potatoes in there, and you stabilize somewhere between, so like right now you're at 0.32 and you're 26 degrees, which is not hot enough. So what if I made you R equals 13, right? And now you're hopefully going to be hot enough, right? So hopefully you stabilize at a point where you're going to stay at the right temperature. And if that works, that'll be cool. Right? And now we're making ethanol. Let me let it run for a few minutes, and we'll see what happens. And you know what? It's actually a little bit past wrapping up point. So we should wrap up here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap up the episode. We'll come back next time, make sure this thing behaves itself. I just need a little bit of ethanol, and we should be cool. So hopefully, like, it looks like you're net gaining. So the fact that you got over your initial hump of doing what you were doing, I think is cool. And then any excess, you know, will be vented, and I think we should be safe. So now you're making ethanol, and then we can use ethanol to make, in another fluid mixer, no, in a thermopneumatic processing plant. Yeah, that's what we need. Thermopneumatic, yeah, another one of you, as long as it's above 150. So we can basically run another one of these pipes over to it and say, like, we're going to vortex tube it like this, and then we want another thermopneumatic processing plant, right? And we should be able to say very easily, make the stuffs. All right, so next episode we'll come back and we'll basically have this happening and that happening. And you should get nice and hot because we're not restricting your temperature here. This has a temperature restriction, this does not, right? And then we just have to make, either skulks, we need to make reactant dust, okay? Which should be pretty easy. All right, so next episode we'll get that going, and then we'll get oil, and that should be pretty cool, honestly. In fact, we were probably close to the point where we can do it now. I probably could. Do I still have fluid dudes? Where's my... I'm well past the wrapping up point, but, you know, Dyer, he gets excited. He's ready to make stuff. And then he runs a few minutes late. And I don't think anybody really cares, right? Nobody minds if I'm a few minutes late. Okay, so you're going to extract, and then you're going to insert. Right? So now you're getting ethanol, and we put that in there, and as long as you're above 150, which you're not yet, but like once you build up enough pressure, you will be, right? It'll take a minute to get there, but then once it's there, we should be cool, right? Now I could throw lava or something under there, but remember that always consolidates down and cools off eventually. So if we want this to be truly like lasting forever, we need to do it with vortex tubes, right? But as soon as we break the 150 barrier, we should convert a very tiny amount of ethanol into crude oil. It's like 500 millibuckets turns into 8 buckets. So like, pretty cool. I'm guessing you're working. Current recipe crude oil. You may take a while. Nope. He just ran. He did it. He did the thing. Look, 8 buckets. Boom. Crude oil. And then a bucket would make for a very happy quest completion. Cool. All right. So now down with my side. Hope you guys scoop enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time and do something with all this crude oil. So like, realistically, it's a real lot of crude oil you get from a very tiny amount of ethanol, which I appreciate. I like that. All right, for now, Double 20 sign off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.